The galaxy had been silent for a long time. The Van Empire ruled thousands of star systems. Their fleets moved without challenge. Their technology was advanced. Their sensors scanned deep space every second. Nothing ever surprised them, until one day something strange happened at exactly 0300 galactic time. A deep space listening post near the edge of Sector 19 caught a signal. It was short, less than 2 seconds, a burst of noise. It wasn't in any known language. It didn't repeat, and it came from the Orion Voider place, known for being completely empty. The message was forwarded to the Van command. Scientists examined it. Most said it was nothing, just a random pulse. Space was full of strange signals, gamma bursts, star echoes, background radiation. This was probably just one of them, but Commander Zurek wasn't so sure. He sat in the dark control room of the Van cruiser Torvak, staring at the waveform of the signal. His eyes narrowed. "This isn't random," he whispered. His second officer, Talon, looked over. Sir Zurek pointed at the waveform. "There's structure here. See these peaks, this rhythm. That's not noise, that's a pattern." Talon frowned. "No known species use this code." "That's what worries me." Zurek ordered a deep scan of the Orion Void. His team resisted. "Sir, nothing lives there. It's a dead zone." He ignored them. For the next 72 hours, the Torvak remained parked in orbit around a cold red star. Their sensors reached far into the void. They found nothing, until the signal came again. This time, it was longer. For seconds, a strange series of pulses and pauses. Still no language, but now it sounded like ... breathing. Zurek stood slowly. "Boost signal analysis. I want a full spectral breakdown, and trace the origin." Talon worked quickly. The results came in. "Sir ... it's coming from inside the void again, but closer this time." "Closer," Zurek repeated. "Yes, whatever sent the signal, it's moving." Zurek stared at the holographic map. The signal came from a place no ship had ever visited. The void was filled with unstable gravity fields and ancient collapsed stars. It was a graveyard, but something was alive in there. He called the Van High Council. "We have a potential first contact situation. Unknown species. Highly advanced." The Council replied coldly, "Do not waste our time with ghost stories. There is no life beyond the mapped systems. You have your orders. Maintain position." Zurek turned off the transmission. He looked at his crew. "We're going in." The Torvok entered the Orion Void. Darkness surrounded them. Stars disappeared. Instruments flickered. The ship's hull groaned under strange pressure. Suddenly, the lights went out. "Power loss," Talon shouted. Then the signal came again stronger. It burst through their systems, crashing communication and sensor arrays. It played on every screen, a sharp pulse like a heartbeat. Then a voice, one word, in perfect Van language, observed. The crew froze. "Replayed that," Zurek said, his voice tight. The computer replayed the audio, observed. A single word sent from nothing, spoken like a warning. Zurek's hands curled into fists. "Someone out there knows us, watches us, understands us." He paused. "And they're coming." The crew of the Torvak worked in silence. Fear had crept in like cold air. Even the ship's lights seemed dimmer now. Commander Zurek stood at the command station. He was calm, but inside, his mind raced. No empire, no species, no force had ever entered the Orion Void and returned with answers. But something was in there. Now it spoke. Commander Talon whispered, "We just received a third signal." Zurek turned slowly. "What does it say?" "It's coordinates. Simple maps. One of them leads straight to a system we thought was empty." Zurek stared at the hologram. A red circle blinked at the edge of the Orion Void. No registered stars. No planets, no colonies. "Set course," he ordered. "But sir," the navigation officer said, "the gravitational tides there are dangerous. We could be pulled into a collapsed star." Zurek didn't blink. "We're already being pulled. We just don't know by what." As the Torvak flew deeper into the dark, strange things began to happen. A crew member reported whispers in the hallway, sounds with no source. Another said he saw lights dancing outside the ship, like eyes watching them, and then the engines slowed on their own. "Engineering reports no malfunction," Talon said, "but it's like something is holding us." Zurek's jaw tightened, like a hand around the hull, and then they saw it, a planet, out of nowhere, a dark world, orbiting nothing. No star, no moon, just hanging in black space like a ghost. Scanners didn't pick it up until they were right above it. It had cities, buildings, lights. "Impossible," Zurek whispered. "That's not just a planet, that's a civilization." "But who built it?" Talon asked. No idea, Zurek said. But they sent us the coordinates. Suddenly, a light on the bridge blinked red. Commander, a crew member cried. We're receiving another signal. But this time, not from deep space. It's coming from the planet. On screen, the message played. This time it was longer. Still a strange mix of pulses and frequencies. But this time, it included something terrifying. A blueprint of a Varn warship. Their own ship. Every weak point, every frequency, every vulnerability. The enemy knew everything. And then, a final message. We saw your kind rise from the dirt. We watched you build your empire. You think you are alone in the stars. You are not. The crew stared in silence. Zurek spoke, his voice low and angry. They've been watching us longer than we've been watching the stars. Later, Zurek called a meeting. Whoever they are, they know us. They hid from our sensors. They read our language. They cracked our code. And now they send warnings. But what do they want? Talon asked. Zurek thought for a moment. Then, he said something that shocked them all. They want us to be afraid. They want us to know that we are small. Just then, the ship shook violently. Impact detected. The weapons officer shouted. But no object visible. More tremors. Lights flashing, sirens blaring. Something was hitting them. But nothing showed on sensors. Then the final blow. The main screen turned to static. Then cleared. A shape appeared. Not a ship, not a face, just eyes. Eyes made of light, cold, watching, endless. Then a voice spoke again, not from a speaker, from inside their minds. We were here before you. We will be here after. Leave. Then the screen went black. Silence filled the ship. Zurek breathed deeply. He looked around the room. His crew waited for his order. Would they retreat? Would they run? Zurek slowly sat in his chair and gave a command no one expected. Target the surface of that planet. Full weapons. Fire on my mark. The crew hesitated. Sir, Zurek's eyes narrowed. They've watched us long enough. Now it's our turn. He raised his hand, then he said one word. Fire. Smoke floated across the command deck of the Torvak. The Varn cruiser had just fired its main plasma cannons at the unknown planet. The impact had caused a chain reaction on the surface. Bright explosions, firestorms, and deep quakes. Sensors showed entire structures collapsing. But something felt wrong. Commander Zurek, Talon said, checking the display. Direct hit confirmed. We destroyed their energy core. But what? There's no debris, no fallout, no heat. It's like, he paused, confused, like it was never real. Zurek stood from his chair. Get me visuals. The main screen blinked on. The planet was still there. Whole, unharmed. Not a single scratch. Zurek's eyes narrowed. That's impossible. We hit them with everything, the weapons officer said. They didn't even shield themselves. Suddenly, the lights flickered again. The ship began to spin slowly at first, then faster. We're being pulled. Someone yelled. Gravitational field forming below us. Reverse thrusters. Zurek shouted. The engines roared, but the ship didn't move. The dark planet below them began to change. Its surface rippled like liquid. Then structures rose from the ground, black towers, spinning rings, and floating machines that made no sound. They're coming online, Talon whispered. The ship's systems started to shut down one by one. First the weapons, then the shields, then communications. Something is crawling through our systems, the engineer warned. It's like a virus, but smarter. Suddenly, the command deck filled with static. The screen turned white. Then a message appeared. Weapon was fear. Ours is truth. Then images started to play. Scenes the Varn crew had never seen. Images from Earth. Blue. Oceans, forests, cities, soldiers, rockets, space shuttles, then wars, explosions, humanity's rise from fire and dust. Zurek stared in shock. What is this? He said softly. Talon's voice trembled. They're showing us another species, one we've never seen. Then the final image froze on screen. A human face. No one spoke for several seconds. Commander, Talon finally whispered. That face, it's not Varn, it's not from any empire we've met. They're trying to send us a message, Zurek said. He walked closer to the screen. This is what they were hiding, not a weapon, a warning. He turned to his crew. There's someone out there, more advanced than we are, more hidden, and they've been watching from the shadows. The planet below flickered. Its image glitched, and then vanished. Only black space remained. Gone, Talon said. The whole planet, gone. No, Zurek said. It was never there. It was a projection. Why show us this? Zurek didn't answer at first. Then he said, they wanted us to know that they're real, that they see everything, and that they're not afraid of us. Suddenly, a new alert flashed. A ship had entered the system. It wasn't Vaughn. It wasn't any known race, small, fast, shaped like a sharp blade, and it was approaching fast. "They're here," Zurek said. "Do we open fire?" Talon asked. Zurek stared at the screen. The alien ship stopped just outside weapons range. Then it sent a short message. Only one word. "Why?" Talon translated. They want to know why we attacked." Zurek took a breath. "Tell them, because we were afraid." Talon hesitated, then sent the reply. The alien ship didn't move, didn't speak, just hovered there like a ghost. Then another message arrived. "Fear is a dangerous master." Zurek nodded slowly. "Yes," he whispered. "And maybe it's time we learn." The alien ship turned. Slowly, silently. Then it vanished. Not with engine start. It just disappeared. The crew stood in silence. Talon turned to Zurek. "Sir, do you think this is the last we'll see of them?" Zurek looked out at the stars. "No," he said. "I think this was only the beginning." For many years, Earth had been silent. But humans were not blind. They had seen the stars. They had built satellites that listened. They had watched the skies for strange signals. And then they found something, not a message, not a language, but a movement, a pattern in space that should not exist, hidden inside a quiet patch of the Orion void. Human satellites picked up a disturbance. A ship, large and slow, entering an empty sector. They watched it, tracked it, and listened. When the Vaughn ship Torvak sent out its first scan, Earth's hidden network caught it on in a small underground room below Colorado. A man named Director Kane sat watching the signal. He was the head of Earth's Deep Watch program, so secret that even most governments didn't know it existed. He turned to his assistant. "That's not a natural burst." "No, sir," the young woman replied. "And it's not from us either." Kane stared at the waveform. "We've seen this signal once before. 30 years ago. It came from deep space. From something watching us." Now it was back. At the same time, in orbit above Mars, a small human stealth ship named Echo Black tracked the Vaughn cruiser. Captain Imani, a former Earth Special Forces pilot, sat at the helm. She wore a black suit, no insignia, only a silver ring on her finger, the mark of the Watchers. "Target has stopped above Sector 19 Knoll," her AI assistant said. "No weapons fired. No ships launched." Imani narrowed her eyes. "They're looking for someone. Or something. And they're not alone," the AI added. "What?" Another signal just appeared. "Unknown origin, non-human, projected as a hologram. It disappeared after contact." Imani leaned forward. "So they're being watched too." Back on Earth, Director Kane stood in front of a massive screen. All across the world, silent alarm lights were turning red. "Activate Shadow Protocol," he ordered. His assistant looked shocked. "But sir, that hasn't been used since." "No, but if the Vaughn are moving near Earth's region, and if the others are returning, it's time." She pressed a code into her console. Hidden deep beneath the ice of Antarctica, something ancient came to life. A black tower. No one knew who built it, not even Earth's top scientists. But it had one purpose: to listen now. It was humming again. In the cold orbit beyond Jupiter, the human ship Echo Black went dark, shields up, weapons cold, sensors focused. Captain Imani spoke quietly. "Send a test signal. Same code we intercepted. Let's see who answers." A pulse went out. No reply. Another pulse, still silence. Then something responded. One pulse. Then 3. Then 5. The pattern continued. It was not language, but it was intelligent. The ship's AI said, "That's binary. Like a count." "Counting what?" Imani asked. "Us," it replied. Meanwhile, on the Vaughn ship Torvak, Commander Zurek stood deep in thought. The alien ship had disappeared. The ghost planet had vanished. But the messages, those stayed burned in his mind. Observed. Why fear is a dangerous master. Who were they? What power did they have? And why? Did they care about humans? He opened the original data file again, the one that showed the human face. He played it in a loop. Eyes full of fire. A species that crawled out of mud and built rockets. A people who fought, survived, and looked up to the stars. Zurek had once believed the Vaughn were the strongest. Now he wasn't so sure. Far from them both. Deep in the void, a small probe floated between nothing and shadow. It was not Vaughn. It was not human. It was old. And awake. It turned slowly toward Earth and began to move. The probe moved through space without light, without sound, like a ghost. That it had no engines, no crew. It didn't need them. It had been sent long ago by the Watchers, not to attack, but to observe. Now it was close to Earth, but Earth was not what it used to be. From orbit, the planet looked calm: blue oceans, green land, white clouds, but underneath the surface, something was waiting. Something built by human hands. Deep in the Rocky Mountains, under layers of rock and steel, the command center of the Deep Watch was fully active. Director Kane stood in front of a giant screen. A red circle blinked. "They've found us," he said quietly. His assistant's voice shook. "Should we engage defenses?" "Not yet," Kane said. "They haven't fired. They're still learning." Outside Earth's orbit, Echo Black kept watching. Captain Imani zoomed in on the object. "That's not Vantech," she said. "Too smooth, too quiet." She checked her scanner again. No energy source, no heat. It's almost alive. Then, the object stopped, right above Earth. Everyone went still, and then one simple message appeared on every human screen. From satellite dishes to underground bases, "Your species survived." Kane's heart froze. "They know us," he whispered. "They were watching since before our first rockets, maybe before fire." "Should we reply?" the assistant asked. Kane nodded. "Send a simple answer." She typed quickly. The message was short. "Yes. And we remember." Far away, the Varn ship Torvak had returned to normal space. But Zurek couldn't forget what he saw. He studied human history again, what little they had recovered from the ghost signal. Wars, disasters, hunger, growth, flight, and now, deep defense systems and black towers underground. "This species is young," Zurek said to Talon, "but it doesn't act like it." Talon nodded. "They fight like they've been through 100 wars." "Maybe they have," Zurek replied. "Maybe they're more like us than we think." Back on Earth, something strange happened. The probe that had been floating above the planet turned around. It didn't attack. It didn't scan. It simply left. Within minutes, it was gone, vanished into dark space again. Imani watched it on her display. "It wasn't here to harm us." "No," the AI answered. "It was checking if we're still here." In Antarctica, the black tower powered down. The signal went silent. And in the stars, a decision had been made. The Watchers would no longer hide Earth from the map. But there was one more surprise. Just 3 days later, Earth received a new signal, encrypted, complex, clearly not human. Kane and his team spent hours decoding it. Finally, the message was clear. "We did not expect you to fire first. But now, we respect you." Kane looked at the message again, then he smiled. "Looks like we've made contact." But somewhere in deep space, beyond all known charts, a fleet began to move. Not Varn, not Watcher, not human. Something older, something angry, something that feared what humans might become. The stars had secrets, and Earth had been listening. For years, humans had picked up whispers, strange pulses, distant clicks, broken codes. Most of the world ignored them, but deep beneath the surface, the ones in charge of Earth's defense knew better. They didn't just hear the warnings, they believed them. Director Kane stood in the war room beneath the Rockies. Screens flashed all around him. One showed the Varn cruiser Torvak holding position near the edge of known space. Another showed the probe that had visited Earth and left without harm, but the one Kane kept his eyes on showed something worse. New signal. No pattern, no voice, just raw energy. It was coming fast, and it was big. "Unknown fleet, inbound," his assistant said. "Not Varn, not Watcher, no known match." Kane stared at the data. The ships were heading toward the outer edge of the solar system. "How long?" he asked. 10 days, maybe less. Kane turned to the wall and opened a locked case. Inside was a black key. He inserted it into the console and turned it slowly. Every alarm in the base turned red. "Activate Sentinel Protocol," he said. In orbit around Earth, hidden behind cloaked satellites, 10 human warships came online. These were not public ships. They had no country flag, no paint, only dark metal and silent guns. They were built for this. Meanwhile, in deep space, the Varn commander, Zurek, was watching too. The unknown fleet had also appeared on their long-range sensors. Zurek stood with his officers. "Send a warning to Earth." Talon looked up. "You think they don't know?" "I think they know too much," Zurek said. "And I think they're ready." Captain Imani aboard Echo Black had already changed course. She was no longer hiding, flew straight toward the threat. But what she saw made her freeze. The fleet coming toward Earth wasn't just large, it was ancient. The ships were shaped like bones, covered in scars. Some looked broken but still flew. The AI spoke. "They are not explorers. They are hunters." Imani's voice was calm. "Then we hunt back on Earth." Kane met with the secret group leaders of the Shadow Network. Each one represented a piece of Earth's hidden defense, orbital weapons, Gravity shields, AI war labs, they all spoke in calm, quiet tones. One asked, "Do we make contact with them?" "No," Kane said. "They didn't come to talk." Another asked, "Are we sure we can win?" Kane didn't smile. "We've been preparing for this before we knew their names. And humans don't fight to win. We fight to survive." The ancient fleet was now 6 days out. Every day, more human ships rose from secret bases under oceans, inside the moon, hidden in asteroids. World's public news said nothing. But in the shadows, Earth was on fire. Suddenly, on day 5, a message came, not from the incoming fleet, but from the Watchers. It was short, one sentence. "We tried to warn you. Now, you will have to prove you belong." Kane stared at the screen. "Then watch closely," he said. "We're not like the others." As the sky darkened above Earth, and alien warships entered the edge of the solar system, something happened that surprised even the invaders. The humans didn't run. They didn't hide. They launched thousands of drones, stealth fighters, pulse ships, and something new. A weapon that didn't fire bullets. It turned stars into shields. The battle had not yet begun, but Earth was ready, and now, the galaxy would see what humans really were. Not prey, not children, not weak, but something else, something dangerous. The invaders had arrived. A fleet of dark, ancient ships broke through the edge of the solar system, silent, massive, and terrifying. They carried no flags, no signals, just weapons. Their engines burned black. Their hulls were scarred from old wars. They came for Earth. And they expected surrender, but Earth did not kneel. From behind the moon, Earth's first true warship rose into the black sky. Its name was Erebus 1. It had no windows, no soft edges, only dark steel, cold power, and weapons no one had ever seen before. It was not a ship made for peace. It was made for this moment. Inside, Captain Lysa Ward stood at the command core. She was tall, quiet, and sharp like a blade. She looked at the incoming fleet, 30 enemy vessels, all armed and moving in formation. Her crew waited for orders. Instead, she sent a message, one single transmission, across all frequencies, to all species. It said, "We see you. We are ready. Leave or be remembered." The galaxy heard it, and then silence. In the deep command center on Earth, Director Kane watched the signal go out. One of his advisors whispered, "Do you think they'll stop?" Kane shook his head. "No, but now they know we're not hiding." Commander Zurek, still aboard the Van ship Torvak, heard the message too. He stood in silence. "They warned us not to underestimate humans," he said. Talon replied. "Didn't listen," Zurek nodded. "But now they'll listen for us." In space, the enemy fleet finally responded, not with words, but with weapons. 5 warships broke formation and fired. Blue beams streaked across the void, heading straight for Erebus 1. Captain Ward didn't blink. "Activate mirror shields," she said. The ship shimmered. The beams hit, then bent, then vanished. "Return fire," she said calmly. And then it happened. A single beam, red and silent, left Earth's warship. It did not explode. It simply passed through, and one of the alien warships turned to dust. The other ships stopped. The galaxy paused. A silence fell across stars, satellites, and ships. Humans had just erased a warship. With a whisper, the aliens hesitated, but only for a moment. They attacked again, this time. All of them, 30 ships, launched at once, firing with rage and confusion. But Erebus 1 didn't move alone. Earth's fleet, hundreds of stealth ships, drones, and orbit cannons lit up space. The sky above Earth became a firestorm, but humans didn't break. Back on Earth, Kane watched the data flow in. Report, 3 enemy ships down, minor damage on our side, and Erebus still standing. Kane smiled. "Let them come. We have more to show." In the quiet between blasts, Earth sent one more message. It wasn't a threat, it wasn't fear. It said, "You wanted to test us. Now you've seen our answer." The final words of that message echoed across deep space and in hidden corners of the galaxy. Others listened. Some watched in awe, others in fear. But far beyond them all, something else stirred. An old force, one that even the Watchers feared. It had heard the human voice, and it did not like what it heard. The alien empire was shaken. Their strongest warships had fallen. Their weapons had failed. And now one word was being whispered across every channel: humanity. The elders of the empire did not understand. They had crushed hundreds of civilizations, burned planets, silenced entire species. But Earth is small, violent. Young world had survived. Worse, it had spoken back. So they sent a call, a distress beacon, a message to the outer fleets, buried in deep space. "We've found something unexpected. Send reinforcements. In less than a day, 20 more warships responded. Bigger, faster, older. They traveled through black corridors of folded space, paths only the Empire knew. They would arrive near Earth in 3 days. The Empire smiled. This time, they believed, humanity would kneel. But humanity had a secret. They were already inside, high above the Empire's outer rim, in a forgotten sector of space. Something floated unseen. It was small, dark, and deadly. A human stealth craft Whisper 9 parked in orbit around one of the Empire's main relay stations. Inside, Commander Lena Hayes sat in silence. She had no backup, no escape route, only one mission: tap the core, listen, learn, sabotage. While Earth was under threat, humanity had already slipped behind enemy lines. They had studied the Empire for years, listening to old signals, stealing maps, tracking ships. Now, they knew where the Empire sent its orders from, and they were ready to break it. Commander Hayes reached into her control panel. A small device blinked green. She pressed it. A pulse shot out silent, sharp. Inside the Empire's relay station, systems flickered, cameras shut off, security lights dimmed, and deep in the core of the Empire's own machine, Earth's virus went to work. Within hours, reports began to pour in: navigation glitch in Fleet Command, communications blackout on Sector Base 3, defense turrets offline on Outer Ring stations. The Empire thought it was a malfunction. It was war, back near Earth. Erebus 1 still stood strong. Captain Ward received the new intel from Whisper 9. She smiled. They called for backup, she said, but now they can't even hear them. Director Kane, back on Earth, leaned over his command table. Status, he asked. We've tapped their data streams. We know their fleet routes, their timing, even their fuel limits, and the reinforcements. 3 days out, but we'll know where they drop from. Kane nodded. Good, let them come. We've already cut their eyes. Meanwhile, on the alien fleet, confusion was spreading. Weapons were slow to charge. Targeting systems failed. Coordinates scrambled. The commander of the lead enemy warship growled. Who is doing this? He shouted. No one answered, but far away, a human signal blinked quietly in their own system. We are not outside your walls. We are under your skin. Panic began to grow. The Empire's strength was speed, fear, and surprise. But now, the humans had turned the surprise on them. The Empire sent a final order to the fleet: crush them, end it now. But the fleet had no idea. Earth wasn't just defending, Earth was hunting.